Welcome to Uncaged on the talkSPORT MMA YouTube channel. I'm Adam Catterall. Pleasure to be back in your company and back in the company of this man. If you're keeping up to date with his social media, you'll know that he's hurtling towards a final. That's right. He's already started camp, man. No days off for this kid. Out in Dubai, doing his bits, the one and only Brendan Loughnane. How are you, mate?
Just round the corner from a little bit of history, Adam. You know what I mean? I weren't only the first Mancunian world champion. I'm about to bring two. Beat that one. How about that?
Two big fat checks as well, mate.
And then I'm going to do it against an undefeated Dagestani fighter. Like, that's the way you win your world titles, isn't it, Adam?
Mate, listen, there's no gimmies. There's no gimmies in these tournaments, and away we go, my friend, hurtling towards November with a big smile on our faces. I've noticed that you've decided to leave the rainy Manchester behind and go and get a little bit of sun on your face, sunshine. You work better with a bit of vitamin D inside you, don't you?
Makes sense, doesn't it? I did one camp there just for a bit of I had to get my roots going and give it all that chat. But now it's time to get with Frank Hickman and all the wrestlers in Thailand and just get wrestling every day.
So that's the plan. Once you've finished your pre-camp in Dubai, the rest of it's going to be finished in Thailand, is it?
Correct. Passed through Dubai. Got a really good little thing going here at TKMMA. I always have done. Love Tam and all the boys over there. And then when it gets down to the serious business end of the camp, I call it, it's off to Thailand, Adam.
Nothing like a rooftop gym, is there? Tam's
in it
there, overlooking.
Oh yeah, we've been there together.
The harbour and the bay of Dubai, whilst you're belting the living daylights out of someone getting a sweat on upstairs.
You, Till, Nick, Pete, all of us were there, weren't we?
Leon was there as well. You were all having a bit of a go.
Yeah, we were.
There you go. Anyway, more on that as he gets towards his final. But today he is presenting and giving his opinion on everything that's coming up this week. And this week it is Sphere, Las Vegas, UFC 306. O'Malley versus Merab. Dead excited about it. Hold your horses though, because we're going to talk about something else, which is absolutely massive in the world of mixed martial arts. Because at the weekend, buddy, not one, but two legends of the game decided to call time on their career. We'll talk mixed martial arts first before we talk Muay Thai. Let's talk DJ. Let's talk Demetrious Johnson and Mighty Mouse deciding that he's out now of competition. The greatest flyweight of all time for you?
It just feels strange. It just feels like we're coming to the end of an era. Like Liam Harrison and Mighty Mouse, like two like staples of both sports. You know, as I was coming up, they were the guys. They were the guys.
Is
you know
it making you feel old?
Hey, you said it.
Your contemporaries are deciding to pack it in, mate.
You just read my mind, didn't you, Adam? That's literally what I was thinking. But yeah,
it is. Listen, for him to call time on his career right now, he's out. Hopefully, with a few quid in his back pocket. He's got another career in video gaming. I know that he's got a thriving business in that world. But as a mixed martial artist, mate, I mean, there's nothing left for him to achieve, is there? He's ticked everything off. He did the business. 11 consecutive UFC title defenses. That's the most consecutive defenses we've ever seen, and obviously it equals the record with John Jones of 11 world title defenses. Sensational.
Do you know what I think it is, Adam, right? You know, because of the smaller weight classes, he just didn't get the love he deserved. I mean, if you had that type of skill at heavyweight, there'd be no question about who's the greatest of all time. We wouldn't be having this conversation. It wouldn't be John Jones. It'd be Mighty Mouse due to his skills. But because we're talking about a guy that fights at 57 kilo, do you know what I mean? You're like, people don't take it as serious as they do with the heavyweights, which is sad, really. And I feel like DJ really did fly under the radar. I don't think he got a quarter of the love that he deserved in his career. I really don't, Adam.
I agree with that, but I also just want to throw this in there and see what you think. I think he missed the ball with something just ever so slightly. He was sensational. He was lapping the flyweight division. In and around 2015, 2016, when he was in that mix of lapping the division and the best flyweight on the planet, I genuinely believe that when Conor McGregor kicked the door open of simultaneous world champions, there was an opportunity there for DJ to go, listen, there's no competition for me here at 125. I'm going to have a go at 135. He'd been there before. He'd fought Dom Cruz, hadn't he? And Dom Cruz had beaten him when he first came into the UFC. And then he went down to flyweight. And then he went on this unbelievable run where he became champion. I just felt in around 2016, there was a chance there for DJ to go, do you know something? Go on, I'll fight. I want the rematch with Dom. go on then, I want TJ Dillashaw. Go on then, I want someone else. Because skill set wise, he might not have had the size because he's not a big lad, is he? But skill set wise, I think he could have competed with some of the very best 135ers. And I think that would have just added to a little bit of something, caused a little bit more interest in his profile, and maybe breathed a little bit more life into what he was doing at flyweight.
So he's saying he played it safe?
I'm saying that, I wouldn't say played it safe, but what I'm saying is, if you remember at the time, the division wasn't hot. People were losing interest in it. Even the UFC were talking about maybe dropping the division.
Getting rid of it, yeah.
And it was only Henry Cejudo coming in and winning. I mean, think about that scenario. Henry Cejudo comes in. He's already been knocked out by Demetrious Johnson. But he's now second time around getting his shot at Mighty Mouse. Gets his shot at Mighty Mouse, beats him on a split. Mighty Mouse has had 11 consecutive title defenses. Why was he not given an immediate rematch? He wasn't given an immediate rematch because they were losing faith with the division and him, whether it was becoming a little bit stale, a little bit boring. Now, don't get me wrong. When you're finishing people, I think he's got 6 submission finishes in world title fights, which is the most the UFC have ever seen. He's a sensational mixed martial artist. He could have pushed himself, is what I'm saying. And at that time, 2016, there were others doing it. DC did it. Amanda Nunes did it. Henry himself did it. When he come through, he went straight up, didn't he? I thought DJ could have done it and had a go at 135.
Do you know what, Adam? Yeah, for the first time on this whole podcast, I'm just going to tip my hat to you. I can't say anything else. I can't add to what you just said because it was perfect. And the same argument comes with KHABIB. They always say he could have jumped up, he could have jumped down. And, you know, I'm kind of on the fence with this up and down stuff. I see why you say it. I see why you say it because it's like when you clean up a division, you clean up a division, right? Now, DJ, he has competed at 135, but it was the early days where people weren't really cutting weight, right? He's a very, very small guy, as we know, Adam, yeah? Now the 35ers, or the 35ers in his generation, even towards the end of his career, were getting big. They were getting very, 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 very big. And I feel like he was the true 125er. I really do. I mean, let's take it, for example, when he fought in one championship against Moraes, I believe. Right? See the size difference, and that was in his own weight class. So it's easy for us to sit here and say jump up and down, but have you seen the monsters that he would have had to jump up and down against? Yeah. So that's the argument on the other side.
My argument was from that love point of view. I think if he does make the jump, I think he gets more love because people are like going, right, what's going on here? This little fella's having a go, is he? Right, cool. And I believe he had the skill set to be able to compete with them top people. And if he'd have pulled something off, then all of a sudden you're talking about a double weight world champion and he gets more love. And then the conversation of Mount Rushmore, because loads of people have their opinion on who should be on the Mount Rushmore of MMA. Should DJ be on there? He's in the conversation. There's no doubt about it because of what he's achieved.
Does he make yours?
No, he doesn't. He misses it. Because I think my 3, are everybody's 3 in Jones, GSP and Anderson Silva. I think there'd be at least the conversation for everybody's.
Yeah, agreed.
And my other one that goes alongside those 3, I go Royce Gracie, just because he was the original. That's where I go. I mean, other people might bring in Fedor and all these others, but that would be my 4. I understand why DJ would be in the conversation, though, because of what he achieved at flyweight.
Yeah, no. Listen, 100% agree with you. Again, we go back to 2 things that held him back in you know, it seems like we're both on the same page here. Number 1 is the division. 125, you know, not ideal. And number 2 is that he didn't make the jump up to go for the second belt. So I think we're both in agreement with that. But some moments that he gave us, I mean, the flying armbar, I mean, It was just like, I've never seen that before. And we're both avid mixed martial arts fans as well as...
I've never seen anybody else do that.
It was incredible. I mean, if you haven't seen it and not know what we're talking about...
Ray Borg.
Oh,
Demetrious Johnson against Ray Borg. Took his arm. Mid-air.
It was like, it was a wow moment in MMA. It was top 10 wow moments that I've seen within an octagon. And if you haven't seen it, do yourself a favour and check out Flying Armbar against Ray Borg. Insane.
On this show, we celebrate the mixed martial artists and we do speak about those fighters that are outside the UFC that are doing extremely well, and we celebrate everything, especially that's coming out of Great Britain. Very rarely do we talk Muay Thai, but recently we have. Agat's doing his thing. Liam Harrison's been doing his thing. And at the weekend, Liam decided to call time on a sensational career. And maybe people are watching this, maybe not know too much about Liam and what he's done in the world of Muay Thai. We're talking about a bona fide legend. We're talking about a pioneer of the game here. A man that has been there, done it, got the T-shirt, travelled out to Asia countless times, become world champion, lost world championships, won them back, multi-weights, all this type of carry on. He's just a double hard you-know-what. He is a proper fella. And this fight at the weekend kind of epitomises, for me, what Liam Harrison is all about. Yes, okay, he doesn't win, and I'm sure he doesn't want to be remembered for not winning because he's a champion. He's won far more than he's lost. But it's the story of the fight. He bust his knee or bust his leg badly, didn't he, 2 years ago? I thought he was done. I thought that was it. And he's gone away and he's having none of it. All the pundits like me and all the people in and around him are saying, Liam, you've had a great career, man. You don't need to do it. You don't need to get back fit. You don't need to do this. He was having none of it. He's gone in the gym. He's grafted. He's got himself back to some type of fight shape. And then he's taken on a fight at the weekend against another legend. And he's had it. He's just had it with, like, gone toe-to-toe and had it with him. And if you look at the closing sequences of the fight, which are available because One Championship have a relationship with Sky, it's all there for you. Go and have a nosy at this fight. The closing sequences of that fight kind of just epitomise what Liam Harrison is when I look at him as a fighter. Never say die. The guy was cooked. He was out on his feet. He was knocked out on his feet. And he's like, no, I'm not going. Come on. Let's have some more, mate. That, for me, is what I want. As a fan, if I'm putting my money down on the table, Liam Harrison gave value for money every single time. Thank you very much. If you watch this, Liam, thank you so much for sharing your talent with us, mate. God bless you. Whatever you go on to go and do, I wish you all the success in the world because you gave us a bloody good time.
Yeah, no, listen, 100% with you on that. I've watched multiple of his fights. I've had friends fight him. He's fought everyone. He's fought all over Thailand. He's fought all the Dutch guys. You're talking about an absolute bona fide legend, the way he fights. And then, like you say, the last fight just epitomises Liam Harrison. It's just Liam Harrison in a nutshell. And it went out on his shield. He wouldn't want to go any other way. Do you know what I mean? But he has been battling a lot of injuries. He had that little weight cut issue in the last one. It just seems like his body's not responding now. And it doesn't in the late 30s, you know what I mean? So it's like, it was time for Liam. I'm glad he called it when he did. It would be sad to see him going any longer with all the problems that he's having now with his body and stuff. So really happy. Absolute legend. Tip your hat off to him. Liam Harrison fan forever. And let me just touch on, like you just said, after fighting. Can I just say, he is one of the best guys I have seen at breaking down technique. He's phenomenal. His seminars, his Instagram, the way he breaks stuff down. I've took so many of his things into training sessions the next day. So tip your hat off to him. Amazing career, and I'm no doubt he already is incredibly successful with his seminars and all the other stuff that he's doing outside of fighting. So hats off to you, Lee, mate. If you watch this again, tip me hat off to you, lad.
Yeah, sensational, mate. God bless him. At the Apex at the weekend, UFC rolled into town. Sean Brady put in a wonderful performance against Gilbert Burns. I tell you what, he is absolutely developing as a fighter on the feet. We're talking about a jiu-jitsu specialist here in Sean Brady. And when he fought Bilal, I thought, oh, mate, Bilal lighting you up. And that's not disrespect. Well, it is disrespect, I suppose, because at the time I was like, Bilal hasn't got hands. Yeah, it is. It's massive disrespect, and I apologise for it. But at the time, I was there in Abu Dhabi, and I'm thinking, Bilal's like lighting him up, battering him. I never expected that outcome. And obviously, Bilal's gone on to do great things, and now he's the champion of the world. But what Sean's done since, he's took some time off, he's done, right, okay, there's obviously a hole here in my game. I need to go and get myself sorted. And remember, that's his first defeat in MMA, that one to Bilal. Nobody done that to him before. Exactly. So it was a reset for him. Gone away, dusting himself off. He's come back. He beat Kelvin Gastelum brilliantly. And at the weekend, he absolutely lit up Gilbert Burns. Two jiu-jitsu phenoms, pair of them. And the fight played out on its feet. And I said at the start of the fight, if this plays out on its feet, Gilbert Burns will batter him. Well, he didn't because he battered Gilbert Burns. Third play to him, roll on, son. Great call out as well, going after Ian Machado. Gary, loved it.
Well, that's what it is. Like, we all think this is the great thing about MMA. Me and you will sit on this show week after week. We're wrong 90% of the time. Do you know what I mean? Like, we say stuff and none of it.
But that's MMA. That's why we love it, isn't it? That's why we love it.
Like, we all thought that Bilal had fraud checked him, but he didn't. Like, Bilal is that guy. Like, do you know what I mean? It's insane. Like, so fair play to Sean Brady, man. He's really, really stepped his game up. He looks like he's developing as a fighter. Every fight I watch him, he gets better. An incredible performance. It's just a bit... I want to touch on the opponent. Now, where does Gilbert Burns go from here now? He's had a few tough ones, and it's a tough time now for him.
38 years of age, mate. And for Gilbert, I'm not taking anything away from Sean Brady because he was awesome. He did that to Gilbert Burns at the weekend. But Gilbert Burns is just half a beat off it now. And that's not about putting the graft in the gym. He's doing that. It's not about being disciplined with his diet. He's doing that. It's not about being and seeing things. He's still got it. It's the body's it's only half a beat. He's just slightly slowing. So when he's in those positions to be able to throw a shot, his brain's going, throw it. And because it's half a beat off, the fella's gone. He's out the back door, and that Father Time waits for nobody. I think there's great fights still for Gilbert Burns if he wants them, but not at the top echelon of the division, mate. We're not talking the top 5s and the top 10s. We're talking about the fun legends fights now, I suppose. Yeah. That's the era that he's working towards.
Well, do you know what I noticed as well? I don't know if you picked up on this. He did take his gloves off, but he didn't put them down. I think he's in that middle ground, Adam. I think he's in that I want to do it, but I don't want to do it. And it's like, the title runs are over, in my opinion. I think now it's just, the Poirier fights, the Colby fights, the fun ones that are out there, which I still want to see him in. You know what I mean? He's still an exciting fighter, but I do think the title runs are over now.
Yeah. This leads us in nicely to what is coming up this weekend. UFC 306. Riyadh season, Noche, UFC. I've got to word it correctly. It's a mad little bit of sponsorship where the UFC have teamed up with Saudi Arabia. Mate, Saudi Arabia heavily involved. They're sponsoring the gig. We're off to Sphere. It's costing 20 million quid to put it on, pal. You know what I mean? It's going to be some type of light show this weekend in Las Vegas. You'd like to have... Go on.
You've just wrapped my brain then. Wait, so it's Noche at the Sphere, Riyadh.
Yeah,
it's
a celebration of Mexican independence, sponsored by Saudi Arabia by the Americans.
There we go. That's
what we're doing. That's what we're doing.
Thanks for breaking that one down for me. That one's from my head.
But all in all, mate, no sport's ever taken place in the Sphere. So I think, we've got some good fights that we're excited about, but I think it's the setting that people are more interested in. What the heck is this going to look like?
Oh, mate, wow, this is going to be some event, mate. Really, like the HD graphics. I mean, I watched something recently, Ruthless to Soul live at this Sphere. It's like some new age, absolute madness. And now you're going to put world-class fighting in there with Saudi money and latest technology. It's just going to be... I can't wait for it, honestly.
The noise on the down low, the way it's going to work. For those that don't know what we're referring to, there's this big ball in the middle of Las Vegas called Sphere. LEDs on the outside, LEDs on the inside. It's a phenomenal concert event. You two have been resident there for a period of time, and there's been loads of different shows on it, but there's not been a sporting event. UFC are the first sporting event going in there. So what does it look like? There's only seating on one side. So it's tiered seating on one side of the Sphere. There's no seating on the other side. So it's not like what we're used to in the T-Mobile. Very different for the fighters. There's also not the facility to be able to light the octagon in the same way that they would normally light it. So they've had to come up with creative ways of being able to light the octagon.
Wow.
And then you've got this massive it's a 360 LED screen of which they're going to put to use. Now, the rumour is that it's going to feel like, for the people that have bought a ticket, they're going to be on the inside of it. And hopefully people at home experience this as well. It's going to feel like you're in a movie. So the story's going to begin. All on the screen, the story's going to be being told on this screen, taking you through the annals of time, starting back with the Aztecs of Mexican history. And then the fights themselves, there's only 10 fights on this. So these fights are going to be incorporated into the story. So the story's going to go, and then the warriors are going to come. First fight. And the first fight is Hal Rosas Jr. He'll be in there doing his thing. And then once that finishes, the next part of the story, the next chapter will begin. And then the warriors will come out. That's the rumour. I haven't got that absolutely nailed on, but the whole thing is going to be like a story, a narrative that is told in one night. mate. And if they pull that off, it's going to be an absolute blockbuster. Obviously, everything's scripted, bar the actual fight. Mega.
Well, that's the interesting bit to me, because I'm thinking, as a fighter, right, you're used to going into a cage, the lights are used to being over you, you know what you're doing, but going into this thing, it's going to be something totally different, isn't it? Like, you're going into a massive real-life simulation.
You're in Total Recall, mate. That's basically what you're doing.
But you've got to have a real fight.
You've got to have a real fight. And this is the mad thing. And I'll be asking this when we get out to Las Vegas this week about this. Will the fighters get the opportunity pre-fight night just to have a little walk around, just to get in there, just to feel what it is actually like? Because last thing you want, mate, on a big fight like this, especially when there's world titles on the line, walking out and going, bloody hell, this is good, isn't it? You know what I mean? Getting caught away with all the bloody atmosphere. And next thing you know, you've got this killer running at you wanting to take your head off.
Yeah, like I just said then, like, this is an incredible venue and an incredible idea, but then got to boil down to fighters as well. Like, this is like world titles, Sean O'Malley. Like, you're thinking it's your biggest star, really. Like, you think that they'd give him a little heads up of how it's going to be, or come and have a look at this first, or start training in a simulator. I don't know, but it just sounds great as a fan. But I'm looking at it as a fighter. It sounds intense.
It sounds stressful. Fighting's stressful enough. This sounds, you're just adding to my stress. It's basically what it sounds like from a fighter point of view.
Listen, let's have a look at it. Let's have a look on the weekend, because this could be the greatest thing of all time or an absolute disaster.
Yeah, let's hope.
Listen, it's always going to be good from the fans' perspective, isn't it? But let's see how let's interview the fighters after and say, what was it like fighting in a real life simulator? You know what I mean?
Wow.
Sounds tough. The way you just broke it down to me, it's spun my head. I'm glad it's not me anyway. I tell you.
Listen, what I've just said there is rumour, but listen, it's going to be mega. The idea is going to be mega. I've no doubt the play out of it is going to be mega. I just hope that the fights deliver, because that's what we're here for at the end of the day. It's all nice going to these arenas and doing all these nice things and doing something groundbreaking, but we want the fights. And we've got a great main event. Stylistically, we've got Sean O'Malley taking on Merab Dvalishvili. And I said this on a boxing show recently about Anthony Joshua and Daniel Dubois, right? Anthony Joshua and Daniel Dubois, in the aftermath, the result, it feels like the result's going to be obvious. Because I personally believe, well, there's only two ways that fight's going to go. I don't think either one of them is going to want to outbox each other. Anthony Joshua is either going to catch him straight, or Daniel Dubois is going to catch him with big hooks, right? That's it. And at the end of the fight, we're all going to sit there and go, of course that happened, because AJ is currently in this situation of his career, or of course it's happened because Daniel Dubois is only in this current situation of his career. When I look at this fight, there's only two possible outcomes. Sean O'Malley either knocks Merab Dvalishvili out, or Merab ragdolls him for 25 minutes, right? And they're the two arguments that I think all the fight fans around the world are making for this particular fight. And once it's all done, the answer will be obvious, because Merab's ragdoll 25 minutes high pressure style has so many holes in it for a sniper to hit, it feels obvious that the sniper's going to hit it. But then the ragdoll 25-minute high pressure style is that good. Can the sniper get his work off in that period? We're going to find out on Saturday night.
Again, amazing breakdown. And, I was actually in the Peter Yan camp when he fought Merab. And Peter was looking so dangerous in that camp. And the way he dealt with Peter Yan, mate, I was like, I was taken back. I've never seen... I know it's happened to him before with Aljo, but Merab did it differently. He just did it differently. And then to go and do it to Henry Cejudo's an Olympic gold medal wrestler and pick him up and laughing at him, running across the cage, dumping him and having a chat with Zuckerberg as he's doing it. No, listen, mate, this guy's a serious man. Like, yeah, it's all well and good being a sniper at the end of range, but what if he can't breathe? He's not going to let him have half an inch for 25 minutes.
And what if he does get it off? Let's say Sean gets it off and he eats it. Then what? What if he eats the shot? Then what happens?
Yeah, mate, it's a fascinating contest, this one. Fascinating. Can't wait for that one.
Which way are you edging? now.
You've got to stick with Sean O'Malley with how good he looked against Cheeto. He looked against. I know Cheeto's not Merab, right? But wow, his ability to snipe on the outside. He's like a young. He's Conor McGregor, isn't he? He's Conor McGregor, isn't he, at 35? That's he reminds me of that. He's left straight. His angles, his takedown defense, his cardio. Incredible. And then you've got Merab, who's like KHABIB 2.0 at 135. In it though, he is. I'm a lion though. He's got that style, and he's mastered it.
I know.
Yeah.
Is as you look around the next generation, I said the next generation star. We're talking about the present time, aren't we? And you've mentioned Conor's name there. We'll throw John Jones in there. I'm trying to think of people that move the needle when it comes to pay-per-views in UFC history. Obviously, Conor's an anomaly. He's out there with some crazy ones. Is Sean the guy now? Is he the poster boy, do you think, of the UFC right now?
Talks the talk, fights the fight. He's got his podcasts and he's got all his media's bang on. He looks different. He's got the hair, he's got the style, got the image. He is right now the total package. And when I look around the UFC, is he recently losing? John Jones being inactive. Islam just doesn't have the star power like Sean. Who else?
Alex Pereira. There's only Alex Pereira that you could probably bring into this conversation, but we're talking, maybe we're being biased because of the English speaking from a Sean point of view.
That's it. Pereira's obviously got that that stone cold, crazy aura about him, but he's not as he doesn't appeal as much to the younger generation, the kids. Who put bums on seats and the Nelt boys and all that type of stuff. Sean's got it. Sean has got it all happening, hasn't he? Whereas I feel like Pereira's the hardcore fight fans fighter. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And he's starting to catch on a lot more. I get it. He's getting mainstream, but he's just not quite Sean O'Malley yet. Maybe he will take over.
Sean feels like, do you know like when we were kids in the 1990s and the big heavyweight boxing fights were on, and you'd see Jack Nicholson, them type of characters turning up ringside to come and watch that type of, like Mike Tyson. They'd all want to be there, wouldn't they? Sean feels like he's that type of guy that attracts them type of people. You know what I mean? Your top level basketball people, your top level actors, they all want to be at a Sean O'Malley Sugar Show. They all want to be there because he delivers the viral moment. That's the key thing in it. The game's developed so much, so people understand jiu-jitsu and they understand grappling, but there's nothing more than they understand than a knockout, a one-hitter quitter. Someone that puts the fists on someone's chin and mows them out cold. And Sean O'Malley has a highlight reel of doing that.
Do you know what? There's one man that we're missing out on here that's totally missed the conversation. Ilia Topuria I'd put above him right now, Adam. I really would.
What? From a star power point of view?
He's walking out of the Bernabeu.
Mate, I get it. Right, so you're bringing in the Spanish-speaking culture, right? Go for it, mate. I like it. Go on.
Ilia Topuria has just knocked out our guy Volk, who is, pound for pound, wherever you'd put him. He's in that conversation. He's doing the same thing that Sean's doing. I've never seen anyone captivate an audience quite like, well, obviously, bar Conor McGregor. Let's take Conor McGregor out of this. Ilia Topuria, for me, Sean O'Malley, I would put Ilia above Sean O'Malley right now, just due to the fact of the way he finished Volk. Sean's got great finishes along the way. He's obviously finished Sterling and all that, but I'm talking personally. Here. I'm not talking, I just, this Ilia Topuria thing and the train that's moving at the minute, Again, I don't want to keep going on about this Bernabeu thing, but do you know how big, well, I know you know, but that is humongous. And I just know what's going on because I have the same manager as this guy. And I know the type of deals he's getting. I know the type of circles he's moving in. He's had less fights than Sean in the UFC, I believe. And I just feel like his train is moving a little bit faster at the minute. Maybe I'm completely wrong.
I think I think you're predicting the future with what you're saying. I think Ilia Topuria is going to be what you're saying he is. And I think in Europe, especially Spain, he is that guy. He's that guy now. I don't think he's moved that needle yet in the States. Whereas Sean, I think Sean is moving that needle over in the States.
No.
I think Ilia will. Everybody, there's loads of Spanish-speaking fans out there. El Matador, all that vibe. And I think because you're a mixed martial artist, you're actually looking at the ability.
The
ability there. And I think most people will conclude, listen, Topuria is bloody special, man. He's a bloody special dude. But from everything that you said 5 minutes ago about Sean, the look, the talk, the viral moments, the belt now, the champ, mate, he's going to own this week. Don't get me wrong, Merab will have a good go, won't he? But the kid's going to come in with a big fur coat on. His hair's going to be dyed in the Mexican flag colours. It's going to be wild, man. And people will come out to come and watch him. And for the good of the UFC, and this is another kind of leading question for you. Normally, I would pick the wrestler in this type of matchup, especially a wrestler of how good Merab Dvalishvili is.
Yeah.
But for the good of the UFC, they need Sean O'Malley to knock him out.
I agree. I mean, I'm trying to take it up from there, but I just, like, let's say Merab does get it done. The hype train ends. This hype train cannot end. He's the cash cow. Then you are looking at the Topurias, and then where do you go from there after that? Where do you start looking from there, Adam? But the Pereiras, then where do you start looking?
We've got a bit of history in the co-main event. We've got the first ever female trilogy fight. There you go. Alexa Grasso, the champion, defending her belt, taking on Valentina Shevchenko. Shevchenko can be classed a little unlucky. Second fight between these two was classed as a draw. Some weird scoring in there, which classed it as a draw. I think most people may have edged towards Shevchenko to get a belt back, but we're here. We're at part 3. Like I said, first ever time it's happened with the females. You know that I've got stats here ready to pull out my back pocket for you, pal. We have been here before, and obviously we've had trilogies on the male side of fighting in the UFC. And I was looking for fights that in the first 2 fights have a draw in at least one of those 2 fights, very similar to this. It's happened on 2 occasions previous. One non-title fight, Frankie Edgar and Gray Maynard. And check this for the narrative. Gray Maynard wins the first one. Second one's a draw. Third one, Frankie Edgar. Very nice. Then we move into the only one that has happened where there's been a UFC title on the line. And these 2 ended up having 4 fights. But if I just use the first 3, you get a draw in the first fight between Brandon Moreno and Deiveson Figueiredo. You then get Brandon Moreno winning the second fight, but Deiveson Figueiredo comes back in the third to get his belt back. You can see where I'm going with my prediction for this particular fight, mate, can't you? Because we've got Alexa Grasso finishing Valentina Shevchenko. We've got a draw. And yeah, at the weekend, I think the Bullet's getting a belt back, man. Because the kid is absolutely annoyed. And she's one of the best of all time. I think she's going to roll back the clock.
I agree. I think one of the greatest, like, technicians, like, how clean is a technique. Listen, I don't fully agree with the training techniques because nobody's allowed any water around.
No water!
Nobody's that old Soviet style, man. Like, I remember training with them in Thailand. Man. Listen, let me just give you a little story about the Soviet style, right? I remember jumping in. I was on the other side of the mats one day at Tiger Muay Thai. Peter Yan and his coach are all training over there. They've got this loud boom box on with mad Russian music, pump, yeah. And they're all lined up. Hey. And I'm like, and I just go over. I'm like, yes, lads, what's happening? Can I jump in? Listen, I trained with them for that full, probably about 4 or 5 months. Didn't get one word of English. It was all eins, fine. I don't know what 1, 2 is in Russian, yeah. But I was doing it. And every now and then, Peter would just turn to me and go, he said 1, 2, all right, cool. And that was me stuck in with him. So touching back to that style, I love the style, I love the story. Amazing technician. She gets the job done.
Mate, anybody that carries a bullet round in her pocket just to, bring out at any given time, it's got to be enough of a lunatic for me to be in this crazy game. I think she'll get the job done. Who wins the people's main event of Brian Ortega and Diego Lopez? And I suppose the first question that I'll throw your way is, will Brian Ortega hit 145? Because there was a problem last time around, and that's why the fight fell off.
Wow, what a fight. You know, being in my division, I've seen these two guys fight multiple times. I'm fans of both. Lopez, wow, what an aggressive, amazing style that he comes out with. You know, I'm a big fan of his style. Then you've got Ortega, who just pulls it out the bag, doesn't he? Amazing guillotines, amazing jiu-jitsu. Obviously the heart. Two Mexicans going at it in this mad, futuristic madness. No, he's not Mexican, is he?
He's adopted Mexican. He's in the Mexican team with Alexa Grasso. He's Brazilian, is Lopez, yeah.
So I heard about this, and I heard he's going to get a bigger reception than Brian Ortega. This is what I'm hearing. This is what I heard. The Mexicans have really adopted him.
They love him. They can't get enough of him because he lives in Mexico, so he works for the Mexican team, but he's a Brazilian, yeah. Amazing
fight. That is definitely the people's main event, and that is my favourite fight on the card by a mile. By a mile.
If Brian Ortega's fit and it's 145, I just think Diego Lopez is
too green
and erratic with his strikes.
Yeah, I hear you.
And Brian Ortega is like a little coiled snake, innit? He waits, and then that neck will get snapped. But Lopez's jiu-jitsu is right up there, mate. So it could be, like you've just said, could be fight of the night. It could be an absolute cracker.
I seen it in the Danny Gay fight. His erraticness, you're right. He just absolutely goes for it, doesn't he? And when someone goes for it like that, they do tend to leave holes. Ortega has been around. He's fought everyone. Let's just see what kind of Ortega turns up. That's going to be an interesting point because you've got a very young, hungry lion here coming at you fast.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
With a mullet.
Yeah.
I think you should grow one, mate. Just a little curly one out the back for the final.
Save it, man. I've got the proper mank haircut. Look at that short back and snides.
That's it, mate. I can't complain. Well, complain, yeah, I can complain. I can't comment, is what I was supposed to say. Listen, we've got some good fights. We've got a little bit of Mexico versus Argentina with Daniel Zuluba against Esteban Ribovic. Should be a cracking fight. Both men defend with their faces. I think Zuluba's a little bit more considered in his work. And then you've got Ronaldo Rodriguez. Let's be straight. It's only his second fight in the UFC. He's here because he's Mexican. He's getting an opportunity against Tony Osborne, who's lost 3 of his last 4. Someone's going over in that fight to kick off the main card. It should be absolutely fantastic at UFC 306. I'll be out there, mate. I'll be reporting back. I'll keep you up to date with the light show. I'll let you know how everything is going on because we're going to be getting loads of content for our channel. So make sure you subscribe to the talkSPORT MMA YouTube channel. We'll be in Vegas, not only for this, but Canelo's in town as well. So Canelo fights the boxing down at the T-Mobile, and you got the UFC rocking and rolling at the Sphere. It's a fight. It's a Mexican fight fan's dream weekend, isn't it?
What's the time difference in them two?
They're supposed to be going at the same time.
Oh, so Canelo's not going to sit out like he did against Kovalev? Is it none of that?
Can you imagine Saturday's changing room waiting for them to finish at the Sphere because they're in the middle of chapter 14 or whatever they blooming decided to chirp up? Mega, mate.
It is interesting, though.
Both on pay-per-view as well on different channels, so they're going to want that rival market, aren't they?
It's very, very interesting. Hey, there's a lot going on this weekend, isn't there, Adam? There's a lot happening. There's a lot happening, mate. Fight fans' dream, like you said.
We'll get you closer to it right here on the talkSPORT MMA YouTube channel. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. We'll be back next week with a full review. We'll catch you next time.